Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man podcast. Today is a member interview, and we have Mark T here from Clacton on Sea in Essex, about an hour and a half from London, and he's going to tell us his story. So, Mark, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and what I really like about your story is you haven't been doing manful yoga that long, right? When did you get started?
I suppose I've been doing it about 3 months, maybe. I
Okay.
I come across it on Facebook, an advert for the 6 weeks. What was it the Strength Foundations course or
Yeah.
challenge? Uh, Tried that first. Enjoyed it. Didn't complete it. That's quite
Hmm.
hard. Yeah, but
Yes,
challenging.
it is.
And yeah, then I did get a subscription. But again, me being me, it took me quite some time to get around to actually utilising it and doing it on a regular basis.
Hmm.
Um, I'm a very much stop start kind of person, and I need to get over that. I need to make that commitment.
Hmm.
And with anything really, it's
Yeah.
funny because with work, I'm very committed, 6 days a week. And I've been doing one of the language apps and doing that every night, trying
Oh,
to
cool.
learn Spanish, which
Okay.
doesn't
Muy
sound
bien.
very good with my accent.
Yeah, that's probably fun.
Hola.
Hola. Yeah, I live in well, come hang out with me in Texas. We get plenty of Spanish practice here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
So what was it that that made you go looking for something like manful yoga?
I needed to find something that I could do. I keep making excuses and putting things off. In my
Hmm.
garage, I've got a weights cage, the rack, the squat rack, and everything. So
Yeah.
at first the excuse was can't go in there; it's too dark because I've got no electricity in there.
Mm.
So I bought a solar panel and lighting, put that in there. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too hot. Do you know? And it's just, and I know I've got to do something. My job is so sedentary, driving a
Mm.
taxi, and I'm saying to myself, and I used to do weights years ago when I was about
Hmm.
20, and I enjoyed it. But
Hmm.
having that break and falling off and getting started. So, as I say, I tried the challenge at first, enjoyed it, and like I say, I didn't complete it.
Hmm.
I suppose I'd done about 3.5 weeks. And then I started slipping back into the, well, I can miss today, I can miss tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting at home and I beat myself up about it. And then I thought,
Yeah.
you know what? I keep saying to my partner, don't be a sayer, be a doer. Don't keep
Hmm.
saying tomorrow or the next time. Just do it. And then I was
Hmm.
thinking to myself, well, I can make commitments. I've been doing the language app. Work is a regular thing. And then I said, right, make time, put that time aside. So I thought 7 o'clock in the morning, if a session's 30 to 40 minutes, I can do that, have a shower. I'm out of the door still at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is when I start. And that morning I got up. I think I took my son to work, if I believe. He starts work at 7. I
Hmm.
got back. I got back just before 7. Was about to sit on the sofa and I was, don't, don't. You keep telling yourself, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
So I started right from the beginning, absolute beginners.
Hmm.
Today I've just started 90 days to flexible, so I'm
Oh,
following it
okay.
in the
Great.
pattern that you've set out.
Yeah.
And yeah, just saying to myself, right, you haven't got to do it every day. If you could do it 3 times a week, 4 times, maybe more. So I'm averaging between 4 and 6 sessions a week, which
Yeah.
I've gone from sort of nothing to something.
Right.
And
Yeah. Zero instead of
yeah,
Yeah, 4 to 6 instead of 0
Yeah,
is way better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I think I mentioned to you before, I saw a chiropractor,
Mhm.
seen him several times, and the problem I always thought was in my back, but
Mhm.
it was more in my hips, my hip
Yeah.
alignment. So of course you got so many hip actions and stretches, and I think my first sort of spark was I was walking the dog, and I was conscious of my posture.
Mhm.
And I think I even mentioned it and said, "Do you know what? I've been doing this for a bit and I feel taller." And you
Mhm.
commented on it and said, "Well, you're correcting your posture."
Yeah.
And now I'm walking the dog. I'm not sort of hunched over, but now I'm getting them shoulders back, and yeah, it feels good. Feels good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of really good things that you said that I want to point out.
Mm,
So the one thing was I love that you gave yourself less restrictive requirements.
mm,
So instead of saying I have to do every workout every day that it's
mm.
scheduled, you just said I'm going to do 4 to 6 workouts,
Yeah,
and then recognizing that the Strength Foundations challenge might have been you might have been able to do it consistently if you really forced yourself, but it sounded like that was just too much to
yeah.
force yourself to do. So
Well,
you went back and you did Absolute Beginners instead, which is a program that I made for
mm,
the point of establishing consistency. And so that allowed you to be consistent. And then, so for me, what I'm always curious about is when you're first getting started and you're having those moments of deciding whether or not to do it, right? You mentioned that you were kind of a stop and start guy
yeah,
for a long time. Um, well, the one thing was you realized you do actually make commitments. You
mm,
looked at those examples in your own life and you said, "Well, I work 6 days a week. I do that, and I've been consistent with this language app, so I can do this." Realizing that you are the type of person
yeah,
who can be consistent. But the other part of that is having some sort of clarity on motivation as to
mm.
why it's important. So before you were saying that you recognized, you're a do I say cabby? Is that the
Yeah,
British
cabby,
term?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. You have such a sedentary job where you're sitting so frequently. So, what's the motivation behind that? Is there a fear that you're not going to be healthy as you get older, or what's driving that motivation?
yeah. I've all of a sudden I noticed those involuntary noises that you make getting in and out. You know, where you go, oh,
Yes.
oh. Uh, do you know? And then you think, where did that come from? Where did
Yeah.
so it's all of a sudden just come? And getting in and out of the car was a bit of a struggle. You
Hmm.
know, I had a very low car up until recently, and I'm sort of almost rolling out of the car and then
Yeah.
getting out, and I'm thinking, "Do you know, this has got to be corrected. I've got to do something about this because I'll end
Hmm.
up retiring and I won't be fit to do nothing."
Yeah. And how old are you now?
50,
50. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so that's a big milestone. Do you think that turning 50, you had a realization like,
Possibly.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying I need to do something to get myself in a bit better shape. Just mobile. Need to
Hmm.
improve my mobility because, as I say, sitting down all day is it's not good. It's not healthy. And then you look
Yeah.
around, and I mean, I pick up all different people from different walks of life, and you see the people bent over with a stick, bless them, and then you see someone who's 92 walking about upright, going shopping, doing it. And I think, do you know what? And you're actually wearing me out watching you, you know?
Yeah. That's cool. So you get to see all these different examples of
Yeah,
hey, this is what life could be like,
absolutely.
in a
Yeah,
bad way and in a
yeah,
good way.
yeah,
So, so that motivation, realizing that, okay, I've got to take better care of myself and
yeah,
I don't want to feel achy and I want to enjoy when
yeah,
I actually retire.
yeah. Things
Um,
had to change. Yeah.
yeah. So, what do you think enabled you to be, so you mentioned that the Strength Foundations, you struggle to be consistent with that. But then, but then you started absolute beginners, and I think you did the workouts, you said 4 to 6 times a
Yeah,
week. So
yeah.
what do you think enabled you to be consistent, especially during that first month when you were getting into the habit?
Yeah, do you know, I thought, right, don't be too hard on yourself. If you can't make too many sessions, don't beat yourself up
Yeah.
because you're the one suffering. You
Yeah.
know, if you can do two, that's better than none. If you could do
Mhm.
three, better than one or two, you know. And I made that right. What do I do in the mornings before work? Nothing. Sit there, scroll through Facebook or
Mhm.
watch the news, which is just on a constant repetitive loop. And, you could be doing something. You've got 30 minutes
Mhm.
to spare. All right, then get on the mat, get down there. What do you need? Do you need to go anywhere? No, you're in the lounge, you're in your house, in the warm, roll the
Mhm.
mat out. What else do you need? Two blocks and a strap.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it as well. I haven't got to get changed. I haven't got to go anywhere. I haven't got to get a load of equipment out. I can just put the videos on, watch yourself, follow along. Okay, some things I can't do, some things I can't do very well. Especially straightening my legs. Obviously, my hamstrings are very tight.
Mhm.
But do you know what? If you keep doing it, keep progressing bit by bit, you're starting to see improvements.
Mhm.
And yeah, one thing I do need to do is get a mirror or video myself to
Oh, yeah.
do the moves. But my main thing at the moment is the consistency. That's the
Mhm.
main thing. I want to make sure, don't be a sayer, be a doer.
Yeah.
You know?
And, I think you nailed it too with being consistent, because
Mm,
all those other benefits are going to come,
yeah.
as long as you're consistent. The prerequisite for all of those things is consistency. Um, I also want to say that I really like that you recognize to not be too hard on yourself
Mm,
and to be kind to yourself. Number one, because you're British and extremely self-deprecating.
mm.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
extremely. So hats off to you there. But also because a lot of people who get started with fitness, they have kind of this guilt focused
Yeah.
motivation. They're like, "Ah, you fat ass, get off,
Yeah.
get on the mat," or like, "Oh, you're so stupid, you couldn't even do your workout today."
Yeah.
And that can work, but it's not going to work long term, and you're not going to feel great about it. So, not being too hard on yourself is really important.
Mm.
So the other thing you mentioned, noticing improvements. So how long did it take you to start noticing improvements, and did that help with motivation?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you see an improvement in anything, then it gives you the encouragement, doesn't it? And the
Hmm.
enthusiasm to carry on. I mean, as I say, the posture, the noticing walking the dog, and I feel taller and concentrating more on breathing as well. When I'm
Hmm.
walking the dog, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2,
Oh
three,
yeah.
four. Trying to listen to your body yourself as
I
well.
thought I was the only crazy person who counted while I walked. So I'm glad to know that I'm not the
Uh,
only person who counts their breathing while they're
yeah.
walking.
Oh, I don't do it all the time.
Yeah. Oh
just,
yeah, that would be
just,
impossible. But
yeah. Just check
sometimes.
in. Just check in. Listen to yourself, and yeah.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to notice those things? Do you remember?
I would say the breathing was when I got onto the breath series when I really
Okay.
took notice of that. So that was very quick thing. But I'd say within the first month or so,
Hmm.
towards the latter part, started feeling freer. My
Hmm.
hips and my back was a lot freer as well.
Yeah.
But then I've also gone from doing nothing and sitting all day to doing something. So, and as I say, I saw a chiropractor
Hmm.
a few weeks ago, and that's when I put that post on the community page.
Hmm.
And I think that was the realization then You can obviously you feel better in yourself and improvements. But when I've got this professional guy there, and as I said beforehand, I'd sound like a piece of bubble wrap on the table, and that's it. Best way I could describe it.
Yeah.
And he said to me, it had been 3 months since I'd seen him, and I suppose that was when I got started, maybe
Yeah.
just into it. So yeah, I hadn't been doing it long, obviously, and he's got me on the table. He's doing the usual routine, and he's like, "What have you been doing?" He said, "There's." He said, "You're looking really good. You're looking really good." He said, "There's hardly any corrections to make." And
Wow.
yeah, yeah, honestly, that's why I put the post up there because I was just like, "Oh well, there's a professional there," and I told him, and he said, "You know what? I've got to get back to my yoga."
Hmm.
And yeah, I
That's
think
pretty cool.
yeah, so that sort of gave me the proof as well that by a professional, not just in myself.
Yeah. So some professional validation. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So, and then do you remember when that walking the dog moment happened when you realized you had good posture and you're like, oh, I'm
yeah,
standing upright?
yeah. I can just remember. I mean, I've only got a small dog. We've only got Jack Russell, so it's
Okay.
not a big beast. Well, she's a little beast.
Oh, that's good.
um,
She encourages you to get out at least, or he.
yeah, definitely, she does. Yeah, yeah. I was just walking her around the field, and as I say, listening to myself and feeling myself, if you understand, taking more notice. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. I just felt taller, and do you know what? Then the chest come out a bit, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, do you know what? We're not. Come on, we're not bent over. We're just yeah, the post. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, just
Yeah.
felt good.
That's
It felt good. I felt good.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So, so I'm curious, what were some other, what were some other improvements that you noticed in your life just a result of just being consistent with the exercise?
Um, well, fitness wise, becoming more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Just I'm a long way off it yet. Don't get me wrong, but seeing the improvements, getting down further, getting my legs a bit straighter.
Mm-hmm.
Other things, I'm taking more notice of my nutrition. I'm thinking,
Mm.
well, everyone says abs are built in the kitchen. You know,
Yes.
you should really take notice of what you're putting in to fuel yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's taking a lot more consideration. Drinking a lot more water as well. In the mornings, I don't put the coffee on. I've
Mm-hmm.
like 2 pints of water. And
Great.
yeah, again, that's something else I feel so much better for. Not just sitting there having a coffee. Well, I'm drinking a cup of coffee first thing in the morning to wake up while I'm awake.
Yeah. Yeah. How old is your son?
My son is 20.
Okay.
I've got a 20-year-old son and a 22-year-old daughter.
It's wonderful. Um, so so they're mostly grown.
Yeah.
You're not in the small child phase
Oh
anymore where you're
no,
trying to keep
no,
up with them.
no, and he's definitely not a small child because he towers over me. He's got to be about 6'4", 6'5" or something, and he's
Oh
one.
wow. Okay. Um, so that's great. So you're more flexible, more notice on your nutrition. And was that just kind of a natural
Yeah,
progression of
yeah. I just think it's come along bit by bit. Don't like with the training. Don't try and run before you can walk. Bit by
Mhm,
bit, little changes, small changes, and build on it if you can.
mhm. Yeah,
Whereas before, when I was into something, I'd be totally gun ho. And I mean, like guitars, I've got guitars up there. I've been trying to learn to play them things.
I see
And
them.
I don't know,
Yes, very cool.
on the wall.
Those look great.
But
I've got I'm a bass guitarist, but I haven't been consistent with them since I was in college.
right, yeah. See,
Yeah.
again, it's every night, half an hour, and then it
Oh,
just
wow.
stops. It just stops again. Something else, a stop start kicks in.
Mm, yeah.
So,
So I get so and you talked about already what has enabled you to not be stop start
mm,
with yoga. I think noticing that it's actually doing something. And then, the alternative, like, well, you could watch the news and do
mm,
Facebook, or you could, do something for yourself. So I think that's great.
yeah,
So kind of my next question is, you already talked about nutrition. You talked about, how that's the next thing. Do you have a do you have another plan? Do you have a grand vision that you're kind of working towards, or what's the next step in your overall fitness?
yeah. Well, I think with me with the yoga, I made that commitment to 7 o'clock in the mornings, so
Hmm.
that leaves the afternoons free.
Hmm.
I've got a good friend who gave me a short program on mobility. He's got a
Okay.
personal trainer certificate. And again, I started doing that, and then that slipped away. But I've gradually thought, right, okay, it's 2 workouts. After work, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just see if you can do some of them. Again, you haven't
Hmm.
got to do it all. You don't beat yourself up. You're 50 years old. You're a bit tubby. You sit all day. You're not gonna complete everything you want to do. But ideally,
Hmm.
I'd like to do the yoga in the mornings and get into some more strength and weight training in the afternoons, maybe a bit of running. That's that's what I would like to get to. But
Yeah.
it's going to take time to bed in.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you recognize that it's going to take time and you're
Mm,
not trying to force it, because I think where a lot of people mess up, especially within our community, but I think men in general, is they try to do the all or nothing, and
yeah,
then they go all in, and they are able to do that for a week or 2 weeks, and then they don't do everything that they wanted to do immediately, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a failure. I give up."
that's it.
So I
Yeah,
think recognizing that it's about developing the habit, not
mm,
necessarily level 10
yeah,
of the habit. That's what's going to enable that consistency.
yeah.
So can I ask about your weight? What do you weigh? Have you lost weight since you got started, or what's the
I have lost some. I've always fluctuated between. I only weighed myself the other day actually, because I'm not one of these people. I'm more how you feel and how you look than
yeah.
counting pounds. But yeah, I've always fluctuated between 98 kilos and 102 kilos. Excuse me, and 102-ish kilos. I weighed myself about two days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, and for the first time in a long time, I was just over 94 kilos.
Wow. Okay.
So,
And then for our American listeners who can't translate to metric that quickly, that would be that's about 4 times 2.4, so 12 pounds. You're about 12
mm,
pounds down.
yeah,
Or 10 pounds.
yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
the
and
first time.
that's without even really, I mean, you're not counting your macros, you're not,
No, no,
you're
no,
just
nothing like
watching
that.
what you eat.
And my other problem with food is portion control. Yeah,
Yes,
I
you
would
and
tend to have.
you and many others.
Yeah,
Yeah. What are portion sizes like where you live?
large.
Large.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
mind you,
Midwest.
I've heard that the portion sizes in America can be quite large.
Oh, we do it better than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the absolute best portion sizes. Yeah, I remember going to I think a good example of this. I remember going to a diner. I had a solo retreat for myself. My wife sent me off like on a day trip for myself to stay in a cabin and just be with myself for a while. And I remember going out the morning of and finding a like kind of like a mom and pop diner place. And I went in and I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna get 2 dishes because I'm really hungry. And the first dish they brought out, I was like, I can't even eat all of this food. And I eat a lot of food. I
Yeah,
eat a ton of food. So
mm,
yeah, portion control definitely makes
yeah,
things really challenging.
yeah,
So I wanna kind of circle back to to your motivation for a second, because I think that's important. So when you look at, you're doing yoga every day at 7 a.m., you're working on integrating some weight training into this, some mobility work in the afternoons, just doing what you
mm.
can. What do you think of? What do you remember, in terms of motivation, in terms of helping you work through some of those times when you don't really want to do it, or you feel tired, or other stuff comes up?
Yeah. Just remember the feeling you get after it. Not just physically,
Mm,
but a sense of achievement.
yes.
I could have skipped that, but instead, no. Did I want to do it? No, not today. But you done it. Good.
Hmm.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of pride
Yeah.
that you've actually kicked your own ass for a change.
Yeah. Yeah,
Rather
I
than
think
sitting
that's
on it.
yeah. I mean, do you notice that your day, I mean, you talked about, are you drinking less coffee?
Yeah, well, I didn't drink a lot of coffee anyway, but
Okay.
I've got a bit of a quirky habit. In the mornings, I always used to like a cup of tea and a cup of
Okay.
coffee, and I'd
Oh.
make them both at the same time.
Hmm.
Yes,
That
because
is
I like.
new. I've never heard of that.
I'm a bit because I like
It
tea and I like
Yeah.
coffee. I'm I'm English. I'll go have a cup of tea.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me, I guess. If you like them both, then just do them both. Yeah.
Yeah,
Enjoy your morning.
but as I
Um,
say before that, yeah, now it's a good couple of pints of water most
mhm.
mornings. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and yeah, it just fills you up, sets you up for the day. And when you've done a workout and you've had a shower, think, yeah, okay, I'm ready for the day now. Let's do
Yeah.
this. I've done something positive and improved myself. Hopefully, first thing in the day. So I think mentally it could set your day up a bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I keep on wanting to ask questions about your kids and their influence on your health practices. Do you think it was do you think it was harder do you think it would have been harder to have an exercise program when they were younger versus the age that they are now? Or how do you think your availability to work out and take
Well,
care of yourself has changed?
when they was younger, I mean, my son lives with me and my daughter with her mum.
Hmm.
But when they were younger, yeah, I used to go to the gym quite a lot. I used to go most mornings, four maybe 5 mornings, Monday to Friday. And
Hmm.
again, you've actually reminded me there because then I used to do that first thing in the morning as well. I used to be down there doing the weights at 7 o'clock.
Mm,
And that again, that
okay.
was inspiring because all the people that were there were all elderly retired people. And
Hmm.
you
Oh,
think,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm talking a good 20 years ago. Um, well, no, 15 years ago. Sorry, 15. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So and then kind of the last question I have here before we go into asking my rapid fire questions is, have you utilized community much to support you with
I,
your fitness journey, or how has social structure been helpful for you?
yeah, the community is brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So supportive. And it's good seeing guys and that cracking on and doing ever so well, all different ages, all different shapes and sizes. And again, that's motivational and inspiring. I mean,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm a big guy sometimes, and you got a guy twice the size of me. He's doing it. He's doing it better than me. Well done, mate. Well done. You
Hmm.
know, if he can do it, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I be trying? You
Hmm.
know, um, and yeah, the feedback and the comments you get. I've posted a few things on there and got positive and encouraging replies, and yeah, it's like a good family. It's like a little brotherhood, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm very proud of that,
Mm,
the community that we built, and I'm glad you're part of it and contributing because all those. I think a lot of people don't really see themselves. At least the theme that I've heard in doing a lot of these interviews and talking with people is people don't necessarily see themselves as, well, I'm not really that good at this fitness stuff,
mm,
but then other people start to message them and they start to comment on them on their stuff, and then they
mm.
say like, oh well, maybe I do need to post this because these guys are depending on me. I've got
Yeah,
to, show up.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
it's kind of cool seeing that transition happen.
yeah. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So my four questions here. This is my rapid fire part. First one is, what is one habit, belief, or mindset that has helped you with your overall health and wellness?
Mm, one, um, just just a sense of doing something for yourself. You've got up, you've done it. Good. You
Mm-hmm.
can do it. All those times you've talked yourself out of it. Now you got up and started. Now you got to keep going.
Mm. Yeah.
Feel the improvements. Pat
Mm-hmm.
yourself on the back. Yeah.
Yeah. What's one thing that you do for your health that is often overlooked or undervalued by others?
Oh well, they're not interested in it. Yeah, my son is not interested. My partner, she's not interested. But yeah, but
Yeah.
it's. Do you know what? You're not doing it for someone else. You do it for yourself.
Mm. So just not being interested in fitness
Mm.
whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What is the most stressful part of your day-to-day life?
Driving.
Driving.
Sorry, other drivers.
Other drivers. Ah, yes. Yes. Are you getting better at, or are you getting better at managing your reactions? Has the breath series helped
Ye-
with that at all?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wasn't one for suffering for angry road rage. If that was the case, I would have had a heart attack years ago.
That's
You
true.
can't do it. But yeah, there's someone cuts you up on a roundabout. Have you got to bib your hoot up? No, just
Yeah.
or let someone go. Thank you. Well, oh no, thank you. All right, okay. Enjoy your day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. All right, and then what's your best piece of advice for men who want to be healthier?
um, well, just think about what you want to do for yourself and try and get a consistent time. I think this is a thing with me with the mornings. I put that time. If you can afford even 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes is better than no minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And actually sit down and think about what you want to do or where you want to be. You know, you're not going to climb the mountain in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Just one step is better than no steps. Just be true to yourself and don't beat yourself up. Bit by
Mm.
bit, bit by bit, consistent, small habits, making bigger jumps.
Yeah. No, well said. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you for what you and the guys been doing. And yeah, it's got me going. It's got me going, and I've been pretty consistent. So, and this is why sometimes I put a post on Facebook because I want to see that in a year and say, you done it a year ago, you're still doing it. So
Mm.
let's hope I am. And
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as you're following all of your own advice here and, maybe relying on the community when things, when you fall off the wagon, because
mm,
that's normal. I have no reason to doubt that this will be you in a year, and you'll be, who knows, you'll be a bit lighter, a bit
mm,
stronger, a bit more flexible,
yeah,
um, all those things. So, yeah. And again, I really like your story just because you haven't been doing it that long and
yeah,
you're already noticing the improvements and already active in the community. So yeah, I'm glad that you did this, and I want to thank you for just giving Manful Yoga a shot.
Well,
So thank you.
thanks again for having me, and thanks for what you're doing. Like I say, I enjoy it. Well, most. I don't enjoy planks. Planks, no. Planks.
That's okay. We'll get there. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, listening in, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had here with Mark. Hope you're enjoying the Reclaiming Your Fitness series, and I hope this inspires you to be a better man. I'll see you on the next episode.